then changing to become saints. That's what we're about. Now, to create openness to formation, you know, it's when I do clubs and things like that, kids clubs and things like that, or youth group, we have to make things super fun. Because the magic is once the kids belong and when they really want to go, when they're having a blast, what they do is they just open up their heart and they kind of say, form me. And so like when the kids come in a youth group, you know, Bernadette and I were saying the same things that all of you are saying. We're not saying anything different, but because it's in the youth group, and they choose to go to youth group, and they like going to youth group, and they're having fun at youth group, suddenly it makes a difference. Conviction is forged, even though you've been saying the same thing. Because they're open to it. So whether it's junior high, our president is very much involved with that. We have a couple, a lot of the team here. And we, that's the magic. Now, yes, it's very hard to do that in family. It's how do you create an open system, right? It's not exactly the same thing, but that's where you have to be as a family. You got to have a lot of fun too. The great danger with a lot of moms and dads out there is that you love your children and you want to be perfect. And the tendency is that you're always going to the imperfection. Every time you see something imperfect, you're telling them because you love them. And in your own mind, in your heart, you're saying, I love you and I want you to be perfect. That's why I'm telling you this. But in the mind of the kid, all they're hearing is their imperfections. When you're working with kids to create an openness to formation, you have to be like 90% positive, 10% negative. And with comments like negative, because there are moments where obviously you have to have like a negative formation where you're correcting. Because some kids will challenge you. Kids will try to force the issue. And yeah, you have to have consequences and all that stuff. But the vast bulk of formation must be positive. Otherwise, you're not going to create an openness. So when I'm doing a camp, first 3 days I'm just goofing off. Just goof off with the kids. Have fun. Tons of fun. And unless it's something really, really, really egregious, I'm not going to come down on them. I'm just going to turn a blind eye because I know where I'm going. I know I have to create this great, fun environment. And then when I say one perfection, it is so incredibly effective. Because the kids know that Father is fun and I enjoy being around him and he's not negative all the time. And he said this one thing, he said it because he cares. And that's what you have to do as parents. It's very important. What I tell parents is for every one negative comment, negative formation, which is necessary, the correct proportion to positive is not 1 to 1. It is not 1 to 1. Because that means that's like 50% of the time, half the time something coming out of your mouth is a chop. Think about that. That happens sometimes in marriage. And you can't stand the other person when they're doing nothing like that. Because every other word of their mouth is just what I can't do right. The right proportion is 1 negative to somewhere around 7 positives. 7. Now I know that's extremely hard. I know that. But if you want to create openness of formation in your own home, if you don't do that positive type of formation, it ain't going to happen. Because the kids will put up a gigantic wall in their heart and they won't care what you where I'm going. And on these three things, I'm unbendable. I don't break at all. But all these other things, it's not that I'm not going to get to them. I'm doing it in order. Wisdom. So I know these top three things I have to work on first, and then I'll get over here. And then the kids create this environment, relationship with kids is extremely positive. You know, I look at my older brother. He's got 5 kids. And my older brother is fun. He's hilarious. He does stand-up comedy, and he has a kid show on EWTN. He's just fun to be around. And the kids love being around Dad. And because of it, he's such a great format. Because they listen to Dad. Anything Dad says, they take to heart. He's always encouraging them and having fun. And when he says a comment, they change. And it's such an awesome, awesome environment. And so the faith in the lives of his children is totally solid. You can see it. They go to Mass. Elena, the oldest, just went off to college. She's like, on Saturday nights, she's like at the soup kitchen serving. It's not like, they're worrying about her at night, what she's going to make bad decisions. She's like the leader leading everybody else to do the right thing. That's what we want, but it happens by means of that positive formation. Top 3 things, you got to be positive. There's a lot more that I can say on that, but we have to kind of keep it moving here. The other thing is constancy. As I said before, just because you say it once doesn't mean that's enough. Look at our own lives. We have to constantly be working on this. What does the world do? The world does this over and over and over again. The same messages over and over and over and over again. And so we have to have the same constancy, the same formation of will. Peer influence is gigantic. That's why the youth group is really important. The youth group is really taking off with junior high and high school. We're getting a real inertia going. And it's awesome because the kids come in, we're getting 45 kids, more sometimes, and they come in and they're all kids trying to live the faith together. And it's so beautiful to see how they hook up, how it changes them. Because they learn the faith in a different way when it's from each other. So you got to make sure that you're getting them exposed to the right peer influence. The wrong friends can really build wrong convictions. And then, priorities. We'll just have to keep moving along because I'm already over an hour. So quickly, crux review. You have the desires of the parents are right. The objective is conviction. The how of conviction we touched on. But what is the missing something that is needed to be achieved? What is the missing something? Alliance. I don't have time to drag this out. We love it. What do I mean by alliance? Alliance is a formal agreement between 2 or more parties for a common objective. And here we've got several parties. Me, you, school, parish. And what is our common purpose? They don't see other families that have similar convictions and beliefs. Like I said, they think they're weirdos, and conviction is not cheap. So there has to be an alliance.